high risk, high reward situations.
Well, it's interesting because, yeah, I mean, the Fiora was blind picked here. Rest decided to take the Gnar in, and as you're saying, you know, dive ability for CFO, great, but if there's no scaling edge, then I'm just ready for this early to mid game to be bloodthirsty. Talia Weaver's Wall, we got Silas to match here with Clement, by the way, a lot of good ultis. He can also steal the Tempered Fate. So you've got a lot of tools that Frank Esports can use to respond, and with Frank being so much better in summer, even though CTBC right now looking like our strongest team with a 5-win streak, I wouldn't count Frank Esports out. They're a team that have brought the blood in the early game, and as Mr. Chu said, it is really all or nothing for a team that, for me, represents the historic IG, especially with YSKM, who was on IG young back in the day.
Exactly. This is your trident team in the PCS. They try to win all 3 lanes at the same time. Sometimes to their own detriment, but I love this draft.
Not looking. Not looking. We're going to get another lunge as well, at least starting out the laning phase. Well, here is Pretender gets over the wall with Absconder. Duck, Vital, the flash YSKM runs into Tara, but it's a summoner for nothing, and Rest already going to have a fun time this game.
That was so greedy from Rest. He actually hanged around into the top side and just thought that, oh, maybe they're going to back up, but he gets caught by the Abscond Duck for Pretender, and that shifts the matchup dramatically. Now YSKM, that all-in is so deadly. Rest cannot push the lane whatsoever. If he pushes, he's pretty much just dead.
It's going to be a hard lane. Doesn't burn the TP at least, but yeah, with that flash down and Hollow starting topside, Clement, maybe an opportunity here as we'll watch how Frank Esports play towards his topside, because I remember you in that draft saying that you can play all the way to the solo lane. We've got a safe bot for Frank, and for CFO, it looks like with Gemini's pathing as well, he will be going to match that and send out a counterpunch as we get a pause. Rest is upset, all right? He wants his flashback back, Clement, so we're going to wait and see what the issue is in all seriousness.
All right, now, I will say Rest has been in these positions before, and if you look at his stats, he is one of those top laners that if he falls behind, he does not mind running it down sometimes. Like, he will still be useful. He will still come back and get his farm and carry, but he does not mind trashing the entire laning phase if things don't start out well. So it's going to be interesting to see. This could be one of those instances where Rest kind of BMs himself.
We heard there was a bit of a mic issue, by the way, but we're getting back in. We're okay for now. Yeah, as you said, I mean, Rest is resilient. 5-0 on this Gnar, and even though CTBC are a winning team, that 5-0 record still has a bit of weight. For Frank Esports, YSKM is 1-0 on the pick. Deathless on the Fiora as well, Clement. And already, as we said, off to a good start with that flash being down, as Rest is just getting bullied here with a Grasp versus Fleet. YSKM has already gotten about 4 procs off at this level 1, level 2 mark.
Yeah, you got 2 procs, I believe, level 1 already. The flash is down, so the most important thing here for the top laner is Rest cannot allow the Fiora to push and bounce the wave. If the wave bounces back and YSKM is able to freeze, that just makes CFO's life so much harder. They're pretty much going to have to send Poppy up there. Rest is going to be starved of farm, so it's actually very important for Rest here to control his rage and keep on shoving the wave. He cannot have a big wave come in and then a bounce back going onto YSKM's side.
And we also talked about jungle intervention there. Like, Gemini was spotted on a ward. So at the very least, YSKM has so much information as to where Gemini is going, and knowing that Hollow is also up in this top side of the map. So top lane will continue to be the conversation point as we look towards these other lanes, and everything's even for now. It's still Frank Esports with a good early gamers. Once again, sending out the Rover here, and that should actually get the spot on the Krug camp, which is being done by Gemini. So Clement, visions galore, easily done by Frank.
I love this utility bot side coming in, and to be honest, I feel like Ashe is a champion that has been underlooked in terms of just her teamfight power. I feel like she's really good in these situations where you're trying to chase someone down. And if someone goes for your backline, a lot of times Ashe can actually self-heal for herself. She's got that utility, a lot of slow to come down here. And she also just shores up your laning phase so well too. So great idea here with Frank. They kind of did a reverse draft for YSKM, where even though he didn't get the counter pick, the draft was still all about the top side.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've never seen a blind Fiora pick that early on You know, just again the confidence, and you know how Frank Esports play. But I want to come back to CTBC flying Oyster for a second. We continue to look at the fun up in the top lane, Sun, and talk a little bit about this Bard, Clement, because he said for Koala, bit of a pocket pick here. We know that Bard gets out of lanes quite early. I'm just kind of wondering how it's going to work out with these first couple of neutrals.
So I think the most important thing to look out for is where is the first tower dive going to... Oh, wow, that was really beautiful by WiseCam. Where's the first tower dive going to come down to? And I think there's a lot of options as bot lane.
Well, I mean, I guess we're going to talk about Frankie. And Kerry's takes it, though. Kerry's takes the magical journey. Groudham's going to come through. No one's joining him. Even Hollow's like, nope, I'm not going anywhere near. As Ignite comes down, the shield is there too, but Hollow gets a stun over the wall, and Eminem is just going to poke him down. Kerry's lucky to be alive, as we do get an Ignite trade from the supports as well.
Yeah, defensive Ignite going down here from the side of Carries, just trying to ward everyone off. And Gemini will come in to sweep up the pieces right here. You know, going back to our original subject, I do think mid lane is probably the best direction to go in here. You can actually hotshot preemptively if you catch Gemini on the Krugs, which they do have a timer for. You know he's not going to be able to respond into anything mid lane. So you can Silas tower dive onto the Talia. She does have a lot of escapes, very easy to catch out, and just try to go there. I feel like the bot lane itself is going to be a little bit more difficult on the side going in for Frank Esports. Because I just feel like that lane's probably pure utility. I don't think the jungle's going to be there all that much for them.
I mean, there's safety in both, right? Healing for the Bard here as we look at a level 69, top side yet again. And safety here for the Tahm Kench. Like, for the 2v2 down the bottom lane, it's just been continuous trading, while mid has kind of been more of the same. And it has still been all about this top side. But I will say, Clement, Frank Esports weren't able to find a window to punish Rest on the flash timing. And we're kind of now waiting for the level 6 that's just been hit by Pretender by Mission. Weaver's Wall up and available. The Hijack as well to start influencing the map if he wants to respond. Now at the 6-minute mark as we're fast approaching. The Herald that's coming up in a minute 40. And even potential of Dragon for Frank and CFO.
Yeah, and we really have to see how this Weaver Wall is used. We talked about CFO as needing a little bit of a tempo edge here. I feel like a lot of their champions don't do so well into the late game. Bard, Talia, I would both say that they're weaker in terms of the scaling compared to their counterparts. So for CFO, I think their best idea is probably to get something done into the bottom side. Again, we talked about their tower diving combo. If you can move the Talia out of lane somehow, she already has a Weaver's Wall, and then you can follow up with the Poppy for a guaranteed stun onto that self-created wall, and you also have the Temper Fate right there. So that's the big combo waiting to happen. I expected to go down to bot lane for CFO, but we do have to look for timings right here.
I just can't get my eyes off the top lane, though, for the time being. CFO aren't even pivoting towards bot. It seems like their attention being drawn by Rest getting heavily traded against. A 10 CS lead here for YSKM as the wave is not the right spot to get that ulti into the turret, so Rest now down with the Mega Gnar. Good dodging from YSKM as everyone's coming up the whole party with Mission's Weaver's Wall that will be available, but he's already out, and so for YSKM, he's going to be able to avoid that one, Clement. And remember, quick little interaction tidbit. You press W on the Weaver's Wall, and you can actually stop it in places of Fiora. So for Mission, always just worry about where he's placing it to.
Absolutely. That crowd control portion does count. Riposte will help you with that one. Big win for, I would say, Frank Esports with a decent win here. YSKM able to get out of the game squad coming in. Pretender keeping very close to the lane. And he's going for Mission.
Yeah, I mean, Mission is now by himself because Jungler not there. Pretender's taking a huge chunk with the Kingslayer and the arrow helping out, but as Chainlash comes through, the Ignite down gets him low. Shun ults, but it's blocked by Carries. A great support play here as Frank Esports get the Dragon, while CFO can't get the exit kill.
Yeah, very aggressive play there from Shun, and to be honest, even though Carries did block it, he didn't really move. He just walked on the Toad's path there, still got the job done, so kudos to him.
I mean, look, he was still a brick wall. You know, Carries did the right thing, so whether it was Shun's fault or not, still at the very least, a good support player. Tempered Fate, speaking of which, Koala now in position, but Shun doesn't have the ulti. There's a flash away from the Chime sets up. For Frank Esports, they lose their Ashes Flash, which means no summoners on this 80 carry, so that'll be a beneficial trait for CFO.
Yeah, a small win right there. Koala just spotted Carries, hasn't hit level 6 just then, doesn't have the Devour, goes right in and burns the Flash, so a good find on his part. And on the other hand, Frank Esports able to just get out of that Dragon collapse quite safely. So I think the big thing here, we're looking at the Herald fight next, and we have to take account of most of the flashes here. What we have just witnessed is, I honestly just felt like that was a mistake from Shun to burn his flash in that manner, trying to get a kill onto the Tender. Really not worth it when you look at the dive potential here from Frank Esports, and everybody is heading towards that top side right now. Frank Esports currently does enjoy a big lead in terms of vision, and you already have the Tomcat Trophy.
And remember, even though it's not going to be the Imperial Mandate because it's an 80 carry Ash, you still have yourself Lucidity first. We've got the Caulfield's Warhammer, so you are getting that ability haste. So Clement, we have an Ash Arrow off of cooldown, and that's only going to be about 50 seconds per usage as well, as supports are just battling it out. Ignore this for the time being, as they slap each other in the face. As you said, that Herald is going to be a priority. Vision for both teams, but Hollow is the one who has the top laner winning out in the matchup for now, so should influence it quite a bit.
Yeah, and a couple big things to note here. Carry's still not level 6, so missing an ultimate when it does come to that fight. And CFO are starting to pull people across the map right here, going back and forth with the Talia and with the bar trying to catch someone out. This is such a fun way to play.
Huge mobility. I didn't even think about it. Like, yeah, the magical journey, you can weave his wall down and you can reposition again because of Bard, Clement. Like, double the tool, and the usage here is the flash into the wall, caught out mid-transition. Hollow flashes, not burning the ulti himself. The enchant across the arrows there, but Pretender's not willing to commit on in. So, a couple of things used there as Frank Esports once again get punished.
Yeah, kind of a weird timing right there. We actually saw Mission without the seismic shove ready, and Gemini burned a flash for that one. So, again, I'm feeling like the execution here is a little bit jittery coming in decided for CFO. I feel like they're under pressure because they know that they have to find some sort of an early game play, and they haven't really caught anything yet.
I mean, as you said, Frank Esports are normally the ones that come out of the gates rolling, right? Like, this is such a big early game team. But you talked about how this team could move into the late game, and there's a good opportunity here for Rest, who is actually getting some good trading back himself. But YSCam is sitting a bit mannerless, a bit low on the HP bar. So with that, Gemini moves on in, and that window, thanks to Rest, is going to give him priority over the Herald that's been sitting here for quite a while. Yeah,
great trade coming in from Rest. He finds a moment where the minion wave is in the exact position for him to go in onto YSCam. YSCam couldn't really trade back into the big minion wave. And CFO are just picking up everything right here. They could just drop the Herald if they so choose to.
4 members. You're going to be trading off bottom lane plates, but for now, look at the rest of the response from Frank Esports. Ain't much of one, as you said. With that magical journey over the wall, they get closer towards the Herald, getting first turret blood, and down it goes, spread amongst 4 different people. Well, as Rest backs in the nick of time. Going to get another charge here as well, Clement, as Frank Esports have only kitted YSCam to his top side to try and defend for now. Gravitum's here. They want to take him, but in the 1v3, manages to parry off some of the attack as Herald goes down on TP now from Frank Esports as well. There's a bit of turret damage. First blood, YSCam just flashes as Koala with a massive mistake.
I don't think Koala paid attention to the ignite. He was still taking tower shots in the back, and what an easy pickup from YSKM. So overall, the trade definitely much more favorable for CFO. They get the Herald, they get the first tower, and they only trade back 1 plate for it. So that was a huge win for CFO in the end, but a bit of a mishap here from Koala. We're going to watch again how many tower shots he takes right here. That's going to be 1 off the front of it. The ignite had already gone down, and it looks like he actually had the meeps going towards the Fiora there. Very unfortunate.
Oh, and that first kill, as you said, better trade for CFO, but remember Frank Esports also the one with Dragon stacking, Clement. And because you mentioned so much about how this game could progress in their favor, with a Fiora having priority and having the first kill of the game, still feels like for Frank Esports, they're not going to be too miffed as the arrow comes through onto Mission, who steps forward and averts danger.
Beautiful sidestep right there. I'm not even sure if that was intentional or not, but great by him to just walk a little bit forward into the danger range of Silas and then just back out. So, you know, if we look at the game holistically right now, I would say CFO do have a small advantage because of that tower. They can now roam members across the map a lot easier, and especially dangerous is going to be Koala. Again, remember, this comp is all about tower diving. If you have that tempered fate, you can catch people out so easily.
Like this, but Heartbreaker gonna stop that. Weaver's Wall used as well. Double the ultimates. And they're still going for top lane, that's right, Clement. 4 members actually committing up here. But with all those ultis down, I mean, for CFO, they're getting collapsed upon, and Pretender still has his. The ulti gets out the mid lane. Styles is carrying
Turning it around.
The Gemini into the wall, saving the play, the magical journey as well. Hollow there, but the entanglement is Chris Arrow. Comes in so clutch as Shun. It's so low. Pretender with the ulti now stolen away. Misses it though as Gemini's fighting out nicely, but not well enough. One little reset here as Pretender flushes the Abscond of Duck and Koala. It's a good chime, but he won't escape either. CFO overcommitting, and Frank Esports there to punish again.
I gotta hand it to the support right there. That was a hero flash under pressure coming in from Karis. He took all the rotation, like the first round of damage, all went onto the Toad, and then he manages to flash across the wall. Frank Esports, you know, they have fresh members coming in, and CFO do not turn around and swap over their aggression. They keep on going. They get punished for it. Again, critically, Shun has burned all of his cooldowns. Let's watch this. So the key thing here is basically CFO and their target selection. They got the tower, they got the knockback coming in from Gemini. Really cool play, but they're not able to finish their targets. They spend all of their cooldowns going for the Toad, and he just gets across the wall just safe.
Eminem's arrow hitting Shun as well. The damage has been halted. And for Frank Esports, the rest of the cleanup was super easy once Hollow started getting his reset. So Frank still that bloodthirsty team that we know. CFO, that play before, and even that turret take to the inner Clement, that gold might be in their favor, but the 3 kills now, double dragon stacking. Should also cleansing there as we come back to live. Clement, you know, CFO are going to have to start looking at contesting some of these dragons, and with how this game's going with the side laners, with the comfortable position Frank Esports are now in, I want to talk to you a little bit about progressing into this mid game and how CFO can speed things up despite the objective disadvantage.
Yeah, I think the game has changed to the point right now where I don't think Gemini should be the one starting engages anymore. He needs to stay back and actually just bump out Holo or bump out Pretender in some of these fights. These two members, they got 2 kills and the 2 assists. They're already at the point where if they get on Aphelios, Aphelios is just dead. Like, there's nothing he can really do about it. So I feel Gemini needs to play a little bit more defensive, and you need to see a little bit more action coming in from the Talia instead.
Yeah, the Weaver's Wall have been here and there from Mission, and speaking of which, Magical Journey is going to set this one up. Tempered Fate just dodged away. Thanks so much, YSKM. Playing so tricky with the fingers, and this is kind of what we expect out of the new top laner. Demanding attention here, Clement. 3 members now, almost 4, coming down to deal with him, but he's got Grand Challenge, he's got Flash almost available against the wall, won't be able to stop this one into the air. YSKM avoiding it for now, Grand Challenge, Rest flashing away, under turret, he won't take the aggro as Koala now as well.
Goes back in.
He lives on! Mini the Shy indeed.
Oh boy, going for this Fiora is incredibly dangerous right here. They're not able to burst her through the riposte, and in the meantime, Frank Esports now working on the mid lane.
Although you wanted to see it as Seismic Shove's dodged away from, zones off as YSKM. He just got so low, but as he comes down to the bottom lane, CFO haven't backed off. He flashes
it
into Rest under turret. Almost. One more hit would have done it. As CFO committed the TP as well. 4 members sit in front of this turret, and that is going to cost Frank Esports big, no matter how flashy.
Yeah, you do have alternating vitals right there, so Rest played it super calm and collected there. Turns around, knows when he has to keep on running to keep the tower aggro to do the job right there. And if we look at the trade overall, I actually feel like it was okay for Frank Esports though. Even though CFO do get the flashy kill on the bottom side, we have to remember Frank Esports just took a Herald, they just took top lane tower, and all of that gold was going on to Pretender.
Who has had more of a quiet game, but his Silas against J-Team absolutely pummeled in the mid to late game. Frank Esports, if you're just tuning in, have come off a win against, you know, one of the top teams in the league. And although right now it's not 100%, depending on if Jewish team win later, This win, if they combine it against CFO, means that they could be locked in for playoffs today here as Eminem is caught out, but the Tempered Fate is used while they're not nearby. The arrow in return. Koala takes a huge chunk as Rest comes in, but he doesn't have a Mega Nava. And Pretender, this is what we talked about with Silas, Clement. He can use it anytime he wants. The threat there from Frank Esports is a minute until Dragon. They now have to set up.
So that was CFO trying to catch out people. They had a 5-man versus a 4-man, but I think it was actually pretty scuffed from the side of CFO. They get the Tempered Fate, but it's across a wall onto an Ashe that's actually just building support. So I don't think they could have gone onto that one. And Frank Esports are feeling very confident about this play afterwards. They got a lot of farm time on the top side, and they know that the engage is not there, so they're just able to walk in and take this tower.
This is a new one for me though, Clement. You're right, there is a Fiendish Codex on an 80 carry Ashe. So, yeah, I guess why not for Eminem? He's like, I know what my role is this game, send out the arrows willy-nilly. As the arrows have been hitting, to be fair, I think his Ashe has been on point.
Absolutely, he knows his role. It's just a hawk shot, people. It's just to make those fighters close in onto their targets. But Rest has been incredibly bad.
I mean, no one else is here. There's going to be the grand challenge issued. Rest got to play with the vitals nicely here, but he's now exposed forward. One more. He's going to go to Meganar in time.
Tower shot?
In time. Yes, it is. Rest plays with it, dances in his face. YSCam might be the newbie, the hot shot, but Rest never gives in as Frank Esports without their top lane, and now the Tempered Fate going to get the support. CFO in a great position, but Pretender's ulti against the wall is cleansed out, and immediately Kerry saving the day, but a good W from the Talia. Well, shouldn't kite it back, Koala getting low as well. Polo stepping up to the plate, and just need the reset here. Dragons live, no one dies in this 4v5, or excuse me, 4v4, but it gets close.
Yeah, it definitely does, and right now Frank Esports will consider that a win. They have a lot more natural sustain on their top position, and they have the vision advantage. So after that skirmish, CFO are the ones that need to back out here. I will say though, the top solo was just so cool. I hope we get to see it again. This is the reason why I felt like CFO are the hardest matchup for Frank Esports. YSKM has not been able to get a lead over Rest. Rest comes in, he gets the double jump. It looks pretty bad for a moment, and he goes below 100 HP. But you know what? He baits out the W, gets him to go behind, and then shoves him into tower. That was such a smart move going into the play. He calculated exactly what YSKM was going to do.
As you said, this is why Rest is, one of the best solo laners in the league. Why Rest has got so much respect. And when PCS gets 2 seeds, I know a lot of people out there are expecting, well, it's probably going to be PSG for one of them. CTBC and Flying Oyster are looking like the best PCS team at the moment in this regular season. And I can't say with more confidence that right now, with this form, despite the early game being countered well by Frank Esports, they are in control in this game, Clement, and we are once again seeing CFO slowly whittle out advantages as we move solidly into the mid-game.
Yeah, it's a super interesting game. Actually, CFO and their main engage.
Fucking shove. Kerry's going to get knocked back. Grabbing him as well. He can't move. Nice pick from CFO as Hollow tries to react, but there's 4 members here with Nar off to the wing. Pretender can't respond, and hey, if you wanted an early game to really build up, CFO have heard you loud and clear.
What an interesting way to play from Koala. He's actually just throwing out these Temper Fates whenever he has the chance and seeing if he can get a lucky pick here and there. I feel like this is actually a pretty smart way to play against Frank Esports that is clearly still trying to play more of a 1-3-1 game. You can see in these couple of fights, they're the ones sort of playing more defensive around the mid lane and waiting until their soul lanes to come in. And Koala has just been relentless. He just throws out the Temper Fate whenever the cooldown is off and see if he can get a pick off. There's really no cost because the enemy aren't in position to actually fight back if you're grouped.
I feel like both supports have been playing really well, this game. Some good Bard ultis, some good Tahm Kench ultis as well. I want to point out while we're talking about the bottom lane, second item now built here for Eminem. Leandri's picked up as well, Clement, so going to have a lot of value against people like Gemini, Rest, and, well, hell, even Koala with the health he's building. So feels like right now, Eminem, again, knows his role, going to get himself a bit of CDR, and as well, a huge mana pool that's never going to deplete.
Yeah, this is pretty much the I'm going to stay as far away as possible, and all you're going to see from me is just the W. sort of build.
Yeah.
He's not even looking for the auto attacks with this one. He's just trying to stay back, W as much as possible, and keep everyone in place for Silas and YSKM to chase people down. Now we are getting slightly later into the game. I feel like we're coming close to the point where maybe YSKM can start to get a little bit out of rest here. He does have the big sustain item in line. That one's huge. You have the Hydra, or the Ravenous Hydra right here. That will give a lot of cooldown.
Oh, two-man Tempered Fate. Now the arrow comes through at the right time, means Gemini can't get in, but Kerry's still against the wall. Seismic shot back while one angle is Pretender, the other a TP. Follow tries to flash on him, but as YSKM comes through, that grand challenge is going to be everything. He dodges the Poppy ult. This Fiora just needs to reset into the back line. He doesn't get it. Mission survives, so does Shun. Frank Esports with a trade onto Koala in the meantime, but Rest is trying to come in to make that Mega Gnar play. Frank Esports off on the wing, still kiting back. It's a 1-for-1, but it's that big top laner for only a support.
Oh, that was such a tense moment right there. Once again, CFO go in because they know that Fiora is on the other side of the map, but Gemini able to outplay the waiting game. Breaker still coming in though.
Oh, Rest though, Rest with a two-man ulti just elite. So does the Seismic shove. One blow up, two carries, and Frank Esports are dismissed. Hollow with his flash away admits defeat as CFO move to a 5k gold lead and back to this Baron, which is gonna make the game so hard for Frank.
Russ is just making everything look so damn easy right here. Frank Esports, they walk down the ramp and instantly Rest goes in for the two-man shove. They keep, I believe that was full 5 Barons on their team, all alive at that point. Yeah, all 5 Barons. So we're going to watch this again. The same concept here. They know it's a 4-1 comp, so CFO goes super aggressive in. And I think the most critical part of this play is Gemini actually holding on to his Keeper's Verdict past the point where the riposte comes out. That was really dicey because if the riposte was well timed, that was going to be a 3-man stun. Gemini actually waits until the riposte is over, and then as you see YSKM goes in, doesn't get the crowd control, doesn't get the stun down. Of course, Koala overplays his hand just a little bit right there, but doesn't matter as Rest brings up in the end.
And as we come back, I mean, CFO now in the nick of time, as Arrow is going to come through, but the AoE is not enough. Deny that Dragon Soul. So for CFO, I mean, Frank Esports were the ones heading that up, but the game will continue going on. And it is only a Cloud Soul here, Clement, so it feels like right now for Frank, there's not much that's holding them into a comfortable position. And so I know you talked about the late game, but we are in such a big power trough with Rest having 3 items now, with even Mission, who has been bursting out people so close to getting the Void Staff himself.
The problem right now with Frank Esports is they barely have people that can survive. Let's see if Rest can get away, though.
Well, he's not taking much damage. Those 3 items. The Heartbreaker is out defensively. Pretender steals the Gnar ulti, but Rest is an absolute unit. It was YSKM versus Rest in the highlight matchup, and, you know, Rest, even in the match that he took, that didn't look advantageous, has just been looking so good this game. He draws everyone down bot, Clement Chu, and CFO are using their utility towards mid.
Yeah, they have found a potential catcher.
Oh no, Keeper's Verdict is not going to come through. At the very least, Kerry saves his 80 carry. The arrow comes in, but is a whiff. The CFO just back off slightly, ready to fight another day.
We have to see Pretender if he can find an engage right here. They have to go in on one of these lanes.
Everfrost doesn't connect though. Rest still looking for that hop as he's about to go into the Mega Gnar. The Grand Challenge comes in, but it won't be enough healing because Rest can deny it. The Poppy Mega Hammer away. Gemini in the nick of time. CTBC flying Oyster. We said it before. Right now, the PCS's best team, I hell think it's CFO for sure.
9,000 gold lead for CFO, and Rest somehow is able to kite back 3 members right there. Keep himself alive. Great use of the Randuins, and that's just going to close out the game. The solo laners that we were so hyped about for Frank Esports are not here anymore.
Rest and Mission came up clutch, especially that top lane now. Gemini as well. What's new here for CTBC flying Oyster? Their win streak looking to extend here is the final base defense, but a Tempered Fate, the 3-man as Gemini flashes, gets a stun in the wall. The Heartbreaker out for Hollow, but he's getting burnt down. The next is now exposed. They don't need the kills. They just need the win. They'll move to 10 wins right under PSG and keep that 6th win streak going.
I gotta say, this game was a perfect showcase of why Rest is still on top of the league in terms of top laners. his trading timings and his survivability were just so incredibly good. I thought when he lost the flash and when Poppy's entire jungle route was spotted out, that Rest was going to have a terrible game. There was all the ingredients there for a wave bounce back into a constant gank scenario, but he outplayed that. He was able to shove the wave out a little bit, keep it in front of his tower where he was able to farm safely, and then the